In the present video, we will discuss the example problem on Vogel's approximation method. Let's see the problem. Determine the minimum cost to the following transportation problem using Vogel's method. Here given the 3 supply centers and the 5 demand centers. Let's see the solution. Here total demand is the 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, which is equal to the 21. Similarly, total supply equal to the 4 plus 8 plus 9, which is equal to the 21. So total supply equal to the total demand. Then given transportation problem is the balanced transportation problem. Now we apply the VAM method to find the initial basic feasible solution. Procedure is the step 1. Find the penalty for each row and column. Step 2. Choose the maximum penalty and solve the selected row or column. Then remove the row or column. Step 3 is the repeat the step 1 and step 2 until the remove the table. Here penalty is the second minimum value minus minimum value. Then you have to find the penalty for each row and column. For the first row, penalty is the 3 minus 2, which is equal to the 1. Here minimum value is the 2 and second minimum value is the 3. So 3 minus 2, which is equal to the 1. For the second row, minimum value is the 1 and second minimum value also 1. So 1 minus 1 equal to the 0. For the third row, penalty is the 4 minus 3, which is equal to the 1. Similarly, we determine the penalty for the columns. For the first column, so minimum value is the 1 and second minimum value is the 2. So 2 minus 1, which is equal to the 1. Similarly, for the D2 column, so penalty is the 9 minus 4, which is the 5. For the D3 column, 7 minus 4, it is the 3. For the D4 column, so 3 minus 2, which is the 1. And for the D5 column, 7 minus 1, which is equal to the 6. Among these penalties, maximum penalty value is the 6 for the D5 column. So in the D5 column, we have to observe all the cell values. Among all the cell values, we have to choose the minimum cell value. So in the D5 column, cell values are the 7, 1 and 12. Among these values, we have to select the minimum value, that is the 1. Then we have to allocate the maximum possibility of allocation. For this, observe the demand and supply. So here minimum value cell is the 1. For this one, demand is the 6 and supply is the 8. So minimum is the 6. So we have to maximum possible allocation is the 6. So we have to allocate the 6 here. After that we have to subtract the 6 from the demand and supply. Then supply will become the 8 minus 6 equal to the 2. Demand will become the 6 minus 6, which is equal to the 0. So here D5 column is the 0. Then we have to remove the D5 column. Next we have to determine the once again penalties for the rows and columns. First we have to determine the penalties for the rows. For the first row, penalty is the 3 minus 2, which is the 1. And the second row, so 2 minus 1, which is equal to the 1. And for the third row, 4 minus 3, which is equal to the 1. Similarly for the columns, for the first column, penalty is the 2 minus 1, which is equal to the 1. And for the D2 column, 9 minus 4, which is the 5. And D3 column, 7 minus 4, it is the 3. And for the D4 column, 3 minus 2 which is the 1, and for the D5 column we are removed, so no need to calculate the penalty for the D5 column. So here observe the among the all the penalty values, maximum penalty is the 5 for the D2 column. So now we have to select the minimum value in the D2 column. So in the D2 column, minimum value is the 4. Then we have to choose the 4 and observe the supply and demand. So here supply is the 2 and demand is the 3. So among these, minimum value is the 2. So maximum possibility of allocation is the 2. So we have to allocate the 2 here. Then subtract this 2 from the supply as well as the demand. Then supply will become the 2 minus 2 which is equal to the 0. And demand will become the 3 minus 2 equal to the 1. So here supply is the 0. So that is the for O2 row. So for the O2 row supply is 0. Then we have to remove this O2 row. Next once again we have to determine the penalties for the rows. For the first row penalty is the 3 minus 2 which is equal to the 1. And second row we are removed, so no need to calculate the penalty for the second row. And for the third row, so penalty is the 4 minus 3 which is equal to the 1. Similarly, we have to calculate the penalty for the columns. For the first column penalty is the 3 minus 2 1, and D2 column so 11 minus 9 2, D3 column 10 minus 4 6, D4 column 8 minus 3 is the 5. So among these values, maximum penalty is the 6 for the D3 column. So in the D3 column, we have to choose the minimum value. So in the D3 column, minimum value is the 4. So for the 4, we have to observe the supply as well as the demand. Among these, maximum possibility of allocation is the 4. Then we have to subtract the 4 from the supply as well as the demand. Then supply will become the 9 minus 4 which is equal to the 5. And demand will become the 4 minus 4 equal to the 0. So demand for the D3 column is the 0. Then we have to remove the D3 column. So next once again I have to find out the penalties for the rows and column. So for the first row penalty is the 3 minus 2 is the 1, and the second row we are removed. And for the third row, so here 8 minus 3 equal to the 5. So penalty is the 5. Similarly, we have to calculate the penalty for the columns also. So for the D1 column 3 minus 2 equal to the 1. D2 column 11 minus 9 which is equal to the 2. D3 column we are removed, and for the D4 column so 8 minus 3 is the 5. Next D5 column already we are removed. So here maximum penalty is the 5, that is for the O3 row as well as D4 column. So here tie for the penalty. So in this condition we have to select the row or column which having the minimum cost. So for the D4 column, minimum cost is the 3. Similarly for the O3 row, minimum cost is the 3. So here once again minimum cost also tie. So if the minimum cost also tie, then we have to select the row or column which having the maximum allocation. So first we have to observe the maximum possibility of allocation in the D4 column at the minimum cost cell. So here possibility of the maximum allocation for the D4 column at the minimum cost, that is the 3. So here I have to observe the supply is the 4 and demand is the 5. Then minimum value is the supply, so maximum possibility allocation is the 4. Similarly, we have to observe the maximum possibility of allocation in the O3 row at minimum cost, that is the 3. Here demand is the 3 and supply is the 5. So maximum possibility of allocation is the 3. So compared to 3 and 4, maximum possibility of allocation is possible is for the D4 column. So we have to choose the D4 column. So this is the general rule we have to apply when the tie for the penalties. First we have to observe the, so which one having the minimum cost. Based on that one have to select the row or column. If the minimum cost also tie, then we have to select the row or column based on the maximum allocation. Here maximum possibility of allocation between the O3 row and D4 column, it is possible for the D4 column, that is the 4. Then you have to subtract the 4 from the supply as well as the demand. Then supply will become the 4 minus 4 equal to the 0. Demand is the 5 minus 4 which is equal to the 1. So here supply is the 0, that is for the O1 row. Then I have to remove the O1 row. Next, once again I have to calculate the penalties for the row as well as the column. So here O1 row is the, we are already removed, and the second row also removed. For the third row, penalty is the 3, so 8 minus 3 which is the 5. Similarly, you have to calculate the penalty for the columns. So here columns we are having the only one column. So penalties for the D1 column is the 3 and D2 column 9 and D3, D4, D5 columns are removed. So among these values, maximum penalty is the 9. So that is for the D2 column. So in the D2 column it is having the only, so one cost only, so that is for the 9. Here I have to observe the demand as well as the supply. So supply is the 5 and the demand is the 1. So maximum possibility of allocation is the 1. So I have to allocate the 1. Then I have to subtract the 1 from the supply as well as the demand. Then supply will become the 4 and demand will become the 0. So that is for the D2 column, demand is the 0. Then we have to remove the D2 column. Next, once again I have to find out the penalties for the row as well as the column. So penalty for the O3 row is the, so 8 minus 3 which is equal to the 5. And for the columns, D1 column is the 3 and D4 column is the 8. So among this, maximum possibility of maximum penalty is the 8. So for the D4 column, so here supply is the 4 and demand is the 1. So maximum possibility of allocation is the 1. So have to allocate the 1. Then subtract the 1 from the supply as well as the demand. Then supply will become the 3 and demand will become the 1 minus 1 is the 0. Then we have to remove the D4 column. So now it is having the only one cell value. So only one minimum cost, that is the for the D1 column as well as the for the O3 row. So here demand as well as the supply, both are the 3 only. Then allocate the, so 3 here. So now we have to remove the, so subtract the 3 from the supply as well as the demand. Then supply is the 0 as well as demand also 0. Then we have to remove the this row as well as the column. Then so here observe the, so total table is the removed. So then we have to observe the allocations. So now observe the allocations. So here allocations are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So number of allocations are the 7. And m plus n minus 1 is the, m is the number of rows, that is the 3 rows. And n is the number of columns, that is the 5 columns. So m plus n minus 1 value also 7. So then, so minimum cost is the, so 3 into 4 plus 4 into 2 plus 1 into 6 plus 3 into 3 plus 9 into 1 plus 4 into 4 plus 8 into 1. Then total minimum cost is the 68 rupees. So this is the solution, and thank you.